Listen to Sergio Sanchez every morning on News Talk 710 KURV and on the Radio Parami app. Stay informed with exclusive interviews from top local and state leaders, plus economic development news, business, and medical reports, and all the local news from the RGV. It's everything you need to know to start your day right. Sergio Sanchez and News Talk 710 KURV on the free Radio Parami app. Download it now.
3 days after a fatal crash.
The FAA made the call to ground all flights as investigators dig deeper into what went wrong, launching an immediate review of the tour operator's license and safety record. 6 people, including a family visiting from Spain and their pilot and Navy vet, were all killed. Senator Chuck Schumer is now pushing for tougher rules, saying some tour companies are cutting corners.
Fox's Ted Linder. Rory McIlroy wins his first Masters golf tournament, beating Justin Rose in a playoff hole, making him the 6th player to win a career Grand Slam. The Masters, U.S. Open, PGA Open, and Open Championship. He's the first European golfer to do it. America's listening to Fox News.
Sometimes I struggle to get to sleep. My body stopped for the day, but my mind is still running. So I take ZzzQuil.
ZzzQuil, the world's #1 sleep aid brand, has a range of non-habit-forming products to fit you and your family's needs. Invest in a great night's sleep for the best you tomorrow.
I'm awake and ready to take on anything.
Better days start with ZzzQuil nights. Explore our products at ZzzQuil.com. Use as directed. Keep out of reach of children.
Don't get suckered into the same old free phone game by Big Wireless. There is a better way. Pure Talk, my sponsor, my wireless company, has a better offer. The brand new free Samsung Galaxy with qualifying plan for $35 a month. You get unlimited talk, unlimited text, 15 gigs of data, all on America's most dependable 5G network. Just dial pound 250, say the keyword Pure Talk for your free Samsung Galaxy with qualifying plan. Pure Talk, wireless by Americans for Americans.
President Trump meets with El Salvador's President Nayib Bukele today at the White House. He's an ally in the administration's fight against illegal immigration, holding hundreds of alleged gang members at a mega prison. Pentagon removes a Greenland base commander accused of undermining Vice President J.D. Vance.
Space Operations Command says Colonel Susan Myers was removed from her leadership post at a Greenland Space Force base for loss of confidence in her ability to lead. Her removal follows a visit from Vice President Vance, who accused Denmark of failing the people of Greenland and said they would be safer under U.S. rule. Myers explaining in a statement the concerns of the U.S. administration discussed by Vice President Vance are not reflective of the base. Pentagon responding, actions to undermine the chain of command or subvert President Trump's agenda will not be tolerated. President Trump has said he wants to annex Greenland for national security purposes. Greenland's leadership has repeatedly said it's not for sale. Kristen Goodwin, Fox News.
Next round of U.S.-Iran nuclear talks is reportedly planned now for next Saturday in Rome. Oman hosted the first round of talks this past Saturday. Waymo's autonomous cars are heading east.
Driverless car company Waymo will begin testing its tech in Japan next week. It's the first international trial for Waymo, owned by Google's parent corporation Alphabet. The company is referring to the event as a road trip as they attempt to learn about the nuances of driving in Japanese traffic, which is different from American traffic. For instance, they drive on the left side of the street. 25 cars will be deployed, and they will not be driving themselves. They'll be operated by drivers in Tokyo, where some cars have already been spotted. But Waymo says the plan is to eventually bring its autonomous taxi service to Japan. Eben Brown, Fox News.
A constitutional amendment in Hungary is close to being passed that would ban public LGBTQ events like an annual Pride March in Budapest attended by thousands of people. I'm Chris Foster. This is Fox News.
News Talk 710 KURV, broadcasting from the Valley's all-American truck headquarters studio at PayneAutomall.com.
Happy Monday. It is April 14th, 2025. You're in tune with the Valley's Morning News, News Talk 710 KURV. Also at Radio Parami. Download the free app. We're doing X Live, also Facebook Live right now. Show producer Fred Cruz. We got AccuWeather meteorologist Jeffrey Nordine on standby. I'm Sergio Sanchez. Appreciate you being with us. So the big news this morning, and anyone related to agriculture businesses in South Texas, man, they're smiling ear to ear. Mexico blinked in response to threats of sanctions and additional tariffs against Mexico by the Trump administration. Mexico has decided to pay its massive water debt to the U.S. Mexican President Claudia Sheinbaum told reporters on Friday that there will be an immediate delivery of millions of cubic feet of water provided to Texas farmers.
Mexico has been withholding water, violating an agreement. Hidalgo County farmer Brian Jones says that's had a huge impact.
For the last 3 years, I've only been able to plant half my farm because I don't have enough water.
President Trump ratcheting up the pressure on Mexico, warning of sanctions or tariffs if Mexico did not start sending water. The president of Mexico heard that loud and clear, agreeing to start sending Texas farmers a water delivery soon.
That's Michael Board reporting. The delivery of all of this Rio Grande water owed to Texas a bit too late for some farmers who suffered big losses in the valley. In fact, Texas recently lost its only sugar mill as a result of the lack of Mexican water delivery to Texas. Texas A&M conducted a study recently and calculated losses to agriculture in Texas close to $1 billion in lost business. Going to share with you a conversation I just had this morning with our Congresswoman Monica de la Cruz, who was one of the local leaders fighting hard the past several weeks to get this done. Again, the Trump administration announcing that water will be delivered to Texas, and all the details to be announced soon. It's 7:07 on the Valley's Morning News. Other Texas news, the Texas measles outbreak is reportedly getting worse.
The Texas Department of State Health Services reports another 36 cases, bringing the total number for the outbreak to 541. More than 65% of the cases are in Gaines County on the border with New Mexico. 56 people have been hospitalized since the outbreak started, and there have been 2 deaths. State health officials say that because of the highly contagious nature of the disease, additional cases are likely to occur in the outbreak area and the surrounding communities.
Yes, reporter Stephen Pickering. Time is 7:08. This is News Talk 710 KURV. It is Accu with the time. And we want to say thank you to Dougie and all the gang at Martin Farm and Ranch. Purina Feed, it's the best. That's why Dougie and all the gang at Martin Farm and Ranch, they carry it. Dougie and all the gang at Martin Farm and Ranch, they are certified dealers for Purina Feed. You stop by, give them a hug from us. AccuWeather meteorologist Jeffrey Nordine joining us. Okay, so what's the trend in temperatures the next several days?
Well, I would say pretty steady. We're going to be generally in that mid to upper 80, mid 90 range for the next few. The weather is going to be windy, but sunny in general, minus a couple days where we have a little bit more cloud cover, and that's coming up Wednesday and Thursday.
I can hear the wind. You out on your morning walk right now, giving us the weather forecast? You out there somewhere?
Oh, me?
Yeah. Sounds kind
No.
of windy behind you. No?
I have no fans turned on.
Okay.
Oh,
I'm sorry. That's us. Okay. Freddie will have to make some adjustments. We got we left the mic on for the patio cam. Our pivot segue picture is the patio here at KURV and Radio United. He left. I can hear traffic. Freddie left the volume on for the.
That's hilarious because actually,
like a squirrel start eating, not right next to the camera.
It's kind of funny because my laptop, is actually like going high power fan mode right now just to keep cool.
Yeah,
and
that's
I thought,
not it.
Really, you're picking that up?
No, that's not it. It sounds wonderful. It sounds like you're outside doing a morning walk, giving us.
Oh man, if only.
Yeah. Hey, chance of rain over the next several days. What you got?
0. Not a chance of rain for anywhere along the southern coastline, or coastline and right along the border. The only areas that are going to see rain is Dallas and parts of Houston. San Antonio might, but that's coming up for the weekend.
Okay. Anything exciting long range 10, 14 days out? What do the computers tell you for us?
Well, let's take a look here. Let's make this 14 days. Ooh, a big stretch of precipitation coming up Saturday night, lasting pretty much every day next week.
Okay. So for the holiday weekend, Saturday, is that the tail end of a cool front north of us, or what is that?
It's a boundary, but not really a front because temperatures are going to be steady. So we'll have to see what actually does conspire once we get closer.
Okay. And the mid-90s. Meantime, rain for the weekend sounds wonderful. Let's look at the national days for today. You do any gardening? You're back at Mom's house. You do any gardening?
I help with my dad. We go out and make sure the bushes are trimmed and ready for growing.
That's Dad telling Jeffrey, "Hey, go mow the lawn." That's probably what.
Hey, mowing the lawn is my job. My sister, though, she does the gardening. She has one of those arrow gardens, and she, plants basil, couple other vine plants, and this one that I don't even know what it is. It's like a weird. The mouth opens when you squeeze the leaf. I don't know how to describe that plant.
Okay, you said it's a weird planting. I'm wondering if maybe it's a particular.
It's red and orange,
leafy green that is. Yeah, red and orange. Okay, we'll have to look it up.
I'll have to get it from you, and I'll get that for you tomorrow.
Yeah, the one I was referring to is you can smoke it. Well, at least some people do, but as long as your sister's not doing that, then
nope.
Let's see. Growing, many people here in South Texas, they got pecan trees. And
okay.
Now, for you, is it pecan or pecan? Which one is it?
Pecan.
It's pecan. Yeah, that's the right way to say it. That's the Texas way to say it. All right, pal. We'll visit with you next hour. That's
all right.
Weather meteorologist Jeffrey Nordian. Temperatures mostly in the mid-upper 60s as we start this Monday. Again, congratulations. As we mentioned last week, University of Texas, Rio Grande Valley, celebrating their 4th national championship. What? In chess. UTRGV were named co-champs in the President's Cup competition earlier this month. We had a conversation with a coach of the UTRGV chess team, and we hope to share that with you later this week. That chess team has won 4 national championships the past 7 years. That's a dynasty, right? That's what the word that you use for that. Texas news: the Texas Senate, there's legislation that would create a Homeland Security Division within the Department of Public Safety. The Senate approved this legislation, and the agency would focus on immigration enforcement, Texas style, would focus on security threats to the state's infrastructure, and also focus on organized crime. Dan Patrick loves what he does so much, he wants to go back. Dan Patrick saying he's running for a 4th term as lieutenant governor. It's 7:13 on the Valley's Morning News. And raising a family in Texas, it's not easy. And man, it's definitely not cheap.
The growing cost of childcare is taking a huge chunk out of family budgets.
As a result, parents are leaving the workforce because they can't afford to have their children in childcare.
State Representative Ray Lopez is calling for a deep dive into the issue. The cost of childcare, he says, is more than a community college. A study by the Economic Policy Institute shows only about 1 in 4 Texas families have access to affordable childcare, and tens of thousands of people are on the wait list for subsidies.
Time is 7:14 on Newstalk 710 KURV, your station for Astros baseball. We got the Astros at St. Louis tonight, 7 p.m. broadcast on Newstalk 710 KURV. That's a little bit after pregame, right, Freddie? A little bit after pregame because it's Central Time, St. Louis. I ask you that because I know Dr. Gelman, our friend Dr. Gelman, every now and then he joins us for conversations, an hour-long conversation, looking at world events, politics, culture. Yes, conversation with Dr. Lawrence Gilman. That's tonight, 6 p.m. on Newstalk 710 KURV. Up next on the Valley's Morning News, our Congresswoman Monica de la Cruz on Mexico blinking, finally bending a knee, reacting to the threat of tariffs and sanctions by the Trump administration. That's next on the Valley's Morning News.
Give your liver the support it needs with Active Liver. Go to newnordicusa.com, Amazon, or ask for Active Liver at your local CVS. New you, new Nordic. The Viva Fresh Expo in Houston, Texas was buzzing with innovation and industry insights, and 710 KURV brought it all to you. If you missed any of it, see it all again on our social platforms. The South Texas Pulse of Business. News Talk 710 KURV.
One of life's greatest mysteries has finally been solved.
Who let the dogs out? Spruce, spruce, spruce.
It's Spruce, the new hard-working, worry-free weed and grass killer that's safe for use around people and pets. When used as directed, spray the leaves for visible results in just 1 hour and dead weeds in just 1 day. You spray, they play. Weeds die by the next day. Find Spruce wherever weed killers are sold.
This is your home for Houston Astros baseball. News Talk 710 KURV.
"16 minutes after the hour, this is the Valley's Morning News. This is News Talk 710 KURV, home to the Astros. Join us weeknights and weekends for Houston Astros play-by-play. Big thank you to the Mission Economic Development Office. Big thanks as well to Dr. T's Primary Care for Men and Women. The Mid-Valley. Monica de la Cruz joining us. I think congratulations are in order, Monica. The big news, hey, the water is going to be written over from Mexico to the U.S. So that the water debt issue has been solved, at least for this cycle. And for folks that have not heard the huge news for business, for agriculture in South Texas, Congresswoman, I'll let you do the honor. So tell me, what happened late last week?
Well, the president of Mexico finally bended the knee and said that they will immediately give water to the Rio Grande Valley as per the 1944 water treaty. As you know, Sergio, they are 1.3 million acre feet of water in debt to us. That's enough to give the city of Houston water for 3 years. And it's been devastating to our community, but specifically to sugarcane, where we lost that industry in South Texas. So this is great news. The Mexican government has admitted that they are far in debt when it comes to water, and B, that they're immediately going to give us water.
Let's look at, as you mentioned, we have a Santa Rosa sugarcane mill that we lost. And I think Texas A&M did a study on the cumulative losses to agriculture in South Texas, like close to $1 billion. That's like huge losses. For those people who lost out, for the sugarcane mill, the jobs lost, for that industry that's gone too little, too late. Now, what about damages? What about a follow-up? Is there any potential for them forking over something else in order to make up for these losses? Did you hear anything from the White House?
Well, losing our sugar industry is devastating for this area. It devastated us in ways with the economy. As you said, millions and millions of dollars lost. Plus, this was a generational farm, and we have lost the farm, and we've lost, very sadly, the jobs. Now, can you imagine my frustration, Sergio, because I brought this up to the Biden administration in the last Congress, and they did absolutely nothing to help us. And just like you said, a little too late. Unfortunately, President Trump is barely coming in, and in 3 short months made great strides in holding the Mexican government accountable. But really, Biden's failure failed the people of South Texas, and it's very sad. Now, what I can tell you, although money does not replace the industry, last month we were able to announce with Secretary Rawlins $280 million that is coming to the Rio Grande Valley, to our farmers along the border that are devastated by the Mexican government not giving us water. So they will get some economic and some money for their losses.
Do you know how and when the payment of this debt by Mexico will take place? Is it immediate? Will it be gradual? And do you think it's going to help this growing season? What do you hear from the frontline farmers that you represent?
Well, number one, we heard from the White House that it's immediate water deliveries, and from the president of Mexico, Secretary Rawlins, is right now in negotiations with the foreign minister and the Secretary of Agriculture for the Mexican government. So I believe that we are going to hear details of their plan very quickly, and I would not be surprised if it would happen in the next couple of days. So the pressure is on the Mexican government, and they know that they need to make this water delivery immediately. I spoke with farmers on Friday who were over the top excited that they have water coming, and their hope is to receive the water by summer. As you know, the summers down here in South Texas are scorching hot, and thus a lot of water is used. And Sergio, we talk a lot about the farmers, but this has great impact on our municipalities as well, where oftentimes they share their water with the farmers because the farmers don't have water. So this is going to greatly impact our communities, homes like yours and mine. And so the county judge is excited as well as the mayors too.
Do you know, by the way, our guest right now, our congresswoman for our Mid-Valley is Monica de la Cruz. Big news on Friday. Mexico has, as she said, it's true, it bent the knee finally on this water debt issue, the threat of sanctions, and real action by the Trump administration a few days prior to that. Part of the 1944 water sharing treaty, or linked to that, is the U.S. providing some water from Colorado River. And he said, no, the president said, no, that's not going to happen until we figure this out. Then, of course, last week we heard about potential more sanctions, more tariffs against Mexico because of the continuing water debt. And Mexico City said, yeah, let's whatever we owe, we're going to hand it over. We're looking forward to getting details of that. Do you know if the Colorado River issue has been resolved as well, where Mexico gets delivery of that? Did they tell you?
So that was all President Trump. Look, us getting water is a huge win for farmers, a huge win for South Texas, and a huge win for the United States, because ultimately food security is national security. And what the secretary said, Secretary Rubio, was that if Mexico does not give us our water as per the 1944 water treaty, then we were going to stop water deliveries from the Colorado River. And I think that was part of the push, as well as President Trump simply tweeting out, hey, we're going to give Mexico more sanctions, more tariffs if they don't give our South Texas farmers the water that they deserve as per the 1944 water treaty. And Sergio, you have to see that this has been a problem since 1944, over 70 years. And this area, our district, has been under Democratic control all of this time for 70 years. The farmers have been complaining about the exact same thing. And what did our Democrat representatives in South Texas do? Absolutely nothing. Nothing. It wasn't until myself and my team were elected in 2022 that we started to ring the bell, and ring the bell loudly, with legislation on the House floor that successfully passed, a House resolution holding the Mexican government accountable for what they owed us. The first time ever that this was discussed on the House floor. And now with the White House, President Trump taking bold, courageous action to hold the Mexican government accountable. It took 70 years, a Republican congresswoman, and a bold, courageous president, President Trump, to finally say enough's enough. Give us our water or we're going to sanction and tariff you. That now the Mexican government is complying. It's an exciting time for South Texas.
Valley Congresswoman Monica de la Cruz, Mexico has decided to pay the U.S. its entire debt of water under the 1944 Water Sharing Treaty. This after President Trump tightened the screws on Mexico City. And on Friday, we heard, all that water is coming to South Texas, and be fascinating to see what the ownership will be on the U.S. side and the water allocations. We need to, I'm reminded of what the president said during the speech that he gave before the both houses of Congress, where he said, people said it couldn't be done, people said it couldn't be done, and that we needed this, we needed that, we needed legislation, da-da-da-da. It seems like all you needed was a different president, a new president, to get it done. And that's how he got it done. Listen, for the future, we need some teeth in this treaty. do you know if it will still be, this water sharing treaty will still be brought into the fold of the USMCA negotiation near future to make sure that we don't get in this situation again?
So that's step 2, and we have already begun working on that discussion. We're talking to Secretary Rubio's team and the White House legislative team on getting the USMCA to also have the 1944 Water Treaty within the USMCA, because you're exactly right. There has to be consequences to Mexico giving us or not giving us the water that we deserve. So that's step 2. We're already working very, very hard. We're working with the Library of Congress to pull wording and other information that can help support the transition of the 1944 Water Treaty from being a standalone treaty to being part of USMCA. And I believe under President Trump that this will happen.
Well, congratulations in order. Obviously, a big thanks to the White House, big thanks to President Trump for adopting this issue, having it on his radar, and pressing mightily over the past several weeks, and especially last week. Big thanks as well to our Senator Ted Cruz and, of course, Marco Rubio, our Secretary of State, and to your office, Monica, just constantly making noise and sounding the alarm on this for many, many weeks. And finally, here comes the water. Can you give me, again, let's go back to, when is that get-together, that powwow? On when are they going to be revealing the details of the water distribution to us and how it's going to happen, by when, all that?
So we're expecting it very soon. The Secretary Rawlins, who is the Secretary of Agriculture, she was meeting with Mexican dignitaries late into Friday. So we were anxiously awaiting those details. And we have some discussions right now with the White House. I spent all day on Friday with our farmers and with our White House legislative team. And so those details will be revealed very soon, I'm confident. And all I can say is thank you to President Trump for acting swiftly, quickly. If you remember, Sergio, I was just in the White House about a month ago. And within 4 short weeks, we saw big movements from that White House discussion. It's one thing that I can say about President Trump is once he is focused into a subject or an area, he goes all in and he makes things happen quickly and boldly and with big courageous. And that's exactly the way it should be. America first. And that's exactly what he did in this case.
If you could tell me in less than a minute, real quick, the $280 million that have been specifically allocated for local growers, how do they apply for that? Is it Ag Department, or how do they go about trying to get some of that help?
So it's going to go through the state of Texas. The money came to the state of Texas in a block grant, okay. And Commissioner Miller, Sid Miller, is actually distributing those funds, and the farmers can contact my office with the specifics on how to get to the funds that are due to them. Congratulations, Monica. Thank you for you and your staff, all the hard work, and everybody else involved in finally resolving, at least for this cycle, this massive water debt that Mexico had with the U.S. And touch base with us on when all the details are coming up. Thank you so much, Congresswoman. Thank you. Congresswoman Monica de la Cruz.
Listen to Sergio Sanchez every morning on News Talk 710 KURV and on the Radio Parami app. Stay informed with exclusive interviews from top local and state leaders, plus economic development news, business, and medical reports, and all the local news from the RGV. It's everything you need to know to start your day right. Sergio Sanchez and News Talk 710 KURV.